Hi, Aries. This is your astrology reading for October for all Aries signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Um, if you're not used to having a reading done with me, new to the channel or so forth, I want to make sure before I get into the astrology for the month, if you're one of the people who are like following, you know how like I say Sun, Moon, Rising, and then I say Venus. If you're one of the ones who are coming because Venus happens to be in Aries for you, I like to make sure right off the bat that I am telling everybody Venus through me is not necessarily coming up as love. It usually is coming up more of where your sensitivities are and what they're talking to you about, what they're speaking to you about directly. But it usually isn't about love when you're dealing with Venus with me, because I don't see Venus in that way. So I'm letting you know right off the bat, if you're using Venus as a love reading right now, might as well just turn this off and go somewhere else. I'm just being honest with you. Before I get into the astrology, Spirit is saying that there is some unconscious communication either going on. It says actually Spirit just said in some phone calls too. And when I say unconscious communication, it's like part of that universal 12th house. It's part of the subconscious, the hidden self that isn't being spoken, where you're still holding on to secrets, sorrow, shame, blame. And I'm being told in communication, but I'm also being told directly in phone calls and text messages. Some of this is being shown throughout the month, or you'll be acknowledging it or feeling it or feeling it or understanding it. The subconscious will be becoming conscious. Grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and where you have those hidden secrets of self from yourself, they're going to be popping up, especially in the communication zone in general, whether it's with siblings, neighbors, friends, family, just in general. The subconscious mind is making itself more conscious. I'm also being told it's going to be dealing with the social foundation on some level for you, and understanding that it's about creative expression. This that you're not understanding or that you're having trouble with is because you're having trouble really sinking into, I guess, depths or parts of you, which will be speaking of how that creative expression is coming out. They're saying that's also dealing with the solar plexus. So this does have a lot of solar plexus and sacral chakra. This has a lot of how you feel about things. Let me check something really fast here in my notes, because I always have my notes here. I just know when Spirit's redirecting me for some reason. And it has, you're going to have some family judgment issues as well. It's also the sacral chakra and the solar plexus. It's going to be some subconscious active energies, meaning it's being brought up to the surface. I'm getting a whole lot of finding courageous energy at the same time and being able to be tranquil, being comfortable and calm with yourself as you're coming through some of these changes that you're going to be going through. It's going to also be dealing with sexual, emotional, and creativity, how you feel about yourself, how you create yourself by the way you feel about yourself. So I always call that inner belly dancer. It's your warrior. It's your inner warrior and your inner belly dancer. One and the same, actually. The warrior has to be able to be confident and proud and strong and firm and believe in himself to be that warrior, so they can go after that passion, action, aggression in such a warrior state. But you also have to have that inner belly dancer personality feeling to you that makes you feel luxurious and beautiful and comfortable in your own skin, which is then taking you back to believing in yourself, your own self-power, which will elevate you, is what I'm being told, into a new level of self-esteem. Yeah. And it's definitely about creativity in your head and where you allow that creativity to take you, whether it's positive or negative. Obviously, you want it to be positive, but when it is negative, since we are dealing with the subconscious, you need to realize that it's, that hidden karmic debts of self that's trying to teach you a lesson and help you to understand how to maneuver that. And a true self realization is what Spirit is saying. Is there anything else? It's definitely a time of transformational healing for you, but it's your responsibility to do the healing. But they're also saying some of this will help if you really connect with your hobbies, your personal interests. Stay very involved with the things that you enjoy. Okay, I think that's what they have for the most part. Listening to your intuition, trusting in yourself and that intuition and going with that. But there's definitely some issues with communication and either not feeling like you want to or be able to, because my throat's starting to close. So this may mean that you need to be able to speak your truth, but you also may be able to really listen to someone else's over the month. Is that it? Other than, yeah, the being able to speak and being able to speak your truths by understanding your true creative expression, by getting deeper into a part of you. There's karmic lessons that's going to be learned during the month. Okay. So the way that I'm going to do the astrology, I'll just give you what Spirit gives me right off the bat. Also, there's something serious, at least for one of you Aries signs. Something definitely I'm being told you're going to want to pay attention to the 27th, the 23rd through the 27th, when the sun moves into Scorpio and the new moon takes place in Scorpio. The sun moves in on the 23rd. The new moon takes place on the 27th, and Spirit just keeps bringing that to me. Very sensitive energy, but courageous energy. Something's going on there because that I'm being given. And I feel like it's coming in with like a death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. Something is ending, something is beginning. And that was a perfect time during a new moon, or acknowledging it prior to that new moon. Are we done now? So it's going to have to do with forgiveness, I think, for self also. Because it's all of your chakras. The only one I'm not really feeling like is off is the root. You're strengthening. Okay. You're strengthening and like ascending, illuminating, maturing in some form at this time through what you're going to be learning, but it is definitely going to be through some karmic lessons, definitely dealing with social foundations and karmic debts versus the way you thought things were going to be emotionally, mentally, viewing things from a different point of view. I'm sorry, they just keep going on. I can't get to the astrology. And ethics, definitely within the large groups, is what they're saying. Okay. All right, the way that I do astrology is I don't have enough time to honestly go over every single aspect for the whole month. I'm trying to throw it into that's because I'm 10 minutes in now. You try to throw it into a half hour. And I'm probably going to go over a little bit of a half hour because Spirit keeps talking, because now they're saying you need to understand cooperative energy. I'm getting a whole lot of that courageous and tranquility, finding a way to be at peace with both of them at the same time this month. Bring it back to ethics and morals. There's definitely some shifting going on in some relationships and coming to truths with some people. Or their truths are being seen. Anyway, all right. Again, back to the astrology. I try to tell you what's going on, the most important things for the month, because I don't have enough time to go over every single aspect. And then I'm going to run down every one of the signs, not the signs, every one of the houses, so that you kind of understand what's going on this month with you and have a clue of exactly where this is going and maybe why you're feeling the way you do. With that being said, the very first things that I want to say is, yes, everybody already knows about Pluto going direct on the 3rd. That is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. And we've been paying attention to this for a while because Saturn and Pluto are coming together, and they're going to be coming together, and that power is going to be getting stronger. And they're saying right now that's going to be like a Jupiter energy, abundance of rules, walls, boundaries, death, decay, and destruction, rebirth, regeneration. You know, it's a reincarnation in many ways. And I mean, they're giving me that directly for you at this time. But you also kind of carry the universal energy, so all of us will be feeling that in a form too. Mercury is also going to be going Mercury is going to go retrograde, but at the end of the month. Mercury moves into Scorpio on the 3rd. So it's not just Pluto moving. There's going to be a lot of energy going on the 3rd of shifting, like I said, in general. With it being the way it is, Pluto and Saturn coming closer together throughout the month, coming out of shadows. Coming out of retrograde, they both are, but they're still going to be in shadow for partially part of the month. So even though the rules, walls, boundaries, death, decay, and destruction, renewal, rebirth, regeneration is starting to move forward and make changes and shifts in your life, we have to remember it still has a shadow aspect to it. So we are seeing the things that are a little bit darker, and this is actually helping make sure we get on the right path. This is why we're viewing those darker aspects, so that we don't keep going down the same road, more or less. And then as it shifts, it becomes a little bit lighter, because Pluto's the only planet when it goes direct that actually doesn't go back outward. It stays inward. It just stops whooping your ass, okay? Now, on the 4th, you have Mars moving into Libra. On the 8th, you have Venus moving into Scorpio. On the 13th, you have the Sun. No, on the 13th, you have the full moon, which is taking place in Aries in your sign. The 23rd, which Spirit was bringing to my attention, the Sun is going to be moving into Scorpio. And the 27th, you have the new moon in Scorpio. Something important is definitely happening for you within that week, because Spirit keeps bringing that back up again. You have the 31st, which is Samhain or Halloween. And that's not a powerful day on its own, all by itself. Come on, you already know it's a powerful day all by itself. But it's got even more to it. Mercury goes retrograde on Halloween. You also have the moon, Ceres, and Jupiter all within like 1 degree of each other in Sagittarius. It's actually like within 5 degrees of each other, all in Sagittarius on Halloween. So you're getting like a triple whammy on Halloween. Or Samhain. Now, what most people aren't talking about is when they get into looking at all the signs, they're thinking that Libra is just holding all those regular movable planets, but they're forgetting how Maya is there, and so is Make. That is the collective consciousness, as well as the lotus flower. I'm going to go over it all better when I get into the signs. Vista is the only one. Oh, Vista is the one that most people aren't going to be speaking to you about because they don't follow that stuff. Vista is the home and the hearth itself. It's the soul fire. And it is in retrograde. So the soul fire is kind of like the higher self, soul fire, speaking only to you. It's not speaking outwardly to the world. It's only speaking to you about what you need to know. Palace is in Scorpio with all this other energy. And you also, that Palace is Athena, the warrior goddess. Ura is in Virgo at this time. Sorry, I'm paying attention to what Spirit's pointing out to me at the moment. Something to do with Mars moving into Libra. All right, I get it. Thank you, Spirit. All right. Okay, first off, your universal first house is your self-awareness. This is your Aries sign. All right, you need to realize Chiron is here, and it is definitely having conversations with your universal seventh house. So your self-awareness is definitely taking like a hitting, and awareness being brought to you about your personality, whether it's right or wrong, and your appearance, your view of life, your image, the way you're seeing things. Chiron is here. It's the wounded healer. So your very self-awareness, your very personality and appearance and identification has Chiron going, well, what about this? What about you? What about your self-awareness? What about this personality? What about this, the way we're viewing life? What about our identification is still, we're just lying to ourselves about? What pieces of this are we not happy with that we haven't healed? And we're starting a brand new cycle because Chiron's in Aries and you are a brand new cycle. You're the alpha. You're the beginning point. You're the me first energy, and it's asking you what part of your me first energy aren't you really connecting to and you're having problems with in the very self-awareness of your identification and believing and trusting and knowing yourself and your personality and how you're viewing things because of that. Chiron is here asking you, until Chiron moves, and he's going to be here for quite a while, okay? You know, you're going to be starting to see a whole new image of yourself starting to mature and grow. And you're taking a hit because it's still new. It's still new to Aries. You're taking a hit at this time, starting to realize what has to change, shift, and grow and mature for you to grow and mature. Right from your very image of yourself as well as by others. This is also taking a hit in the relationship zone because it is questioning, right here in the beginning of the month, it is questioning the sun and it is questioning the moon. Chiron is not getting along with these relationships. These are your partners, your friendships, your anything you have a relationship with, from your friends, your family, your children, your parents, to your working environment, to your money. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So you're taking a hit, whether it's moving you in a positive way or you're knocking you down because it's making you notice stuff. But either way, that will be positive in the long run. And it's making you see things about yourself and part of these relationships of either what needs to change or what about the relationship itself needs to change, because we're talking about Chiron. This is the wounded healer in the self-awareness place. So the one who's here realizing what has to shift and change is one of two things: the whole relationship, because it's not firm and healthy for you, or it's you and parts about yourself, not that have to change, but have to come into awareness. Come into a new healthy awareness and truth within yourself, so that as you're coming into that, you could truly become yourself and then be a better level of that truth in these relationships and make them work for you. This is why I said either the relationship has to change or you do, because either you're not truly being yourself, because these are parts of yourself you haven't expressed, you haven't experienced, or it's time to, look at the relationships and see what part of those haven't healed properly and they're getting in the way of you finding your true self-awareness, your true self, your true personality. Is the relationships keeping you from being yourself? Because if they are, then they're not true relationships. Now, in your second house, also don't forget, you have Aries in that first house. So in that first house with you in Aries right now. So you don't just have Chiron here. Aries is also one who I call Medusa. She's trouble, toil, strife. You are very much trying to hold on. Like I said, she's Medusa. You're very much trying to hold on to the things that you want to believe, even if it's not the truth about yourself. They're shifting, healing changes about yourself, but you might be very stuck in your ways about pieces of yourself that you've come to know yourself to be. And maybe in the past you were, but you're not anymore. And this is parts of yourself that are changing and shifting. And Medusa is trouble, toil, and strife. She's where the injustice is. So she's still trying to connect to Chiron, even though they're on opposite sides of the sign, and go, hey, hey, you didn't see this one now, did you, Chiron? Which is more or less you saying it to yourself and starting to acknowledge a deeper level of truth. That doesn't mean that it's good or bad. That means you're coming to a new level of truth. And as you experience that new level of truth, you'll experience a new level of you. All right, that second house for you right now is Taurus. This is where Uranus is and Vesta. Remember, Vesta is in retrograde. This is the soul fire speaking to Taurus. It's speaking in Taurus to Uranus. Kind of the same thing. Uranus and Vesta are on opposite sides of the sign. They are not together, but Vesta is also in retrograde too. So your soul fire is going, what part of independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem are you not getting through your thick head? More or less, because that's exactly what this is. This is asking you to believe in yourself, to believe in your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. Stand in your power, acknowledge who you are, create yourself all over again. Believe in that part of you that's now rising and showing its true self. And then it's asking you to bring it to your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. And as you do that, you get in the flow of your own truth a little bit better, which also starts to bring you more into the flow of money. Because that second house is also the house of possessions and how we create and spend our money. So the more you're on top of being right with self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, the more flow that comes to you as well. In all ways, but especially in that area, bringing you to be even more independently able to continue to bring it to you. The third house is speaking to you of Gemini. Right now, there is nothing in this house for you other than the North Star, which is the North Star is always there. And that's the Polaris star. It's one of the guardians of the pole. There is nothing going for you or against you in this communication house of your siblings, your neighbors, and your cell phones, your gossip, your trivia, your details. Nothing is going for you or against you, but remember, Spirit is saying that there's definitely still something going on, just not within the planets. It has to do with all the other emotional stuff that's going on inside of you. So even though they're not putting anything specifically on there, I'm telling you, on that communication house, it's very sensitive, and I stress sensitive by the way communication keeps coming in from Spirit this month. Very much watch your word vomit, very much make sure that you're speaking from your heart and soul, your truth. Make sure that you are actually listening to what's said to you. Because this is definitely a sensitive period of learning, and that communication is going to make or break the situation. I pretty much feel all the way around. Definitely helping you get past some of the grief, sorrow, shame, and blame, because you're actually having the conversations. And it'll help you rise, help your creativity within that within the vision, how you envision things in that third chakra and the crown chakra. It will definitely change the way you're viewing things by having these conversations. Slow down, really pay attention to the details, and not get blown away and caught up in the wind. I feel like it's a tornado. Don't be caught in the tornado. Really ground yourself. Pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention to what is also being said to you, because there's definitely awareness coming in, and you will miss it if you're in that tornado energy. Okay, now we're in the fourth house. The fourth house for you is Cancer. This is the home. But this is the home and the family, but this is also the home. This is the home. The soul cannot be taken away from you unless you've misplaced pieces of it, and then it's time for you to go get it. Right here you have the North Node. The North Node is still... It's 3 degrees away from where the Sirius star is. So this is still God's consciousness in a form speaking to you right now. Thor's hammer in a form speaking to you right now. The Sirius star and the North Node speak to you about what it is you absolutely have to learn in order to move forward in a positive and healthy way. Well, this is in your house of home. So this is speaking to you of who you are now and who the child inside of you was, who's still there that you're not paying attention to. It is asking you to get right with your inner emotional security by listening to that child, understanding different levels of its truth and its foundations. It also is speaking to you of your very roots and the true self that normally everybody doesn't see, because we're a different person when we're at home. We're a little bit more of this or of that because we're home. This is about getting to the depth of inner emotional security. This is also where those karmic lessons are brought in and they are learned for reincarnation to be made. This is speaking to you about getting right with soul, not just getting right with home. If you're getting right with soul, then you're getting right with home and the family that you have, because you're able to speak your truth. But you first have to figure out what your truth is, what your true, real roots are that connect you to your inner emotional security. And as you do that, it's going to bring, a new level of how you feel about yourself. That inner warrior and inner belly dancer is going to strengthen inside, and you'll have a higher level of confidence, is what I mean given. If you are doing your work and you're really connecting with it, because you still have the North Node here for a little while. And like I said, though, that home energy is not getting along, and it's not been getting along with the outer community of your reputation, your prestige, your professional career, your financial success, your social foundations, your duty, authority, responsibility in the very community. So something about that outer world that feels like it doesn't support you, maybe it's because it doesn't. Okay? This is where Saturn is and where Pluto is, and they just went direct. This is asking you what in these areas of that outer community that connects you with your honor, your reputation, your career, financial success, social foundations, outer authority and responsibility. What is it that needs to be shifted so that, you are staying, true to you and that inner emotional security of your own self, your true roots. You're not getting out of balance, is what this is about. Finding what you have to do to create the balance so that your true self is true, as well as the outer self, and what you're trying to grow in that outer community. Now, Leo is your universal 5th house. There isn't anything here also, which is not going for you or against you. And that's not a positive or a bad thing either way. It's just saying you're in your normal energy of what that 5th house is. So there's nothing specifically trying to pique your interests, in the pursuit of pleasure. There's nothing out of the ordinary going for you or against you in the way of connecting to that inner child. So where Spirit's trying to tell you need to connect to that inner child, this is something that they're saying is truly, deeply, seriously, all on you, because you're not getting extra help here. This is about connecting with your inner child, your inner creativity. This is where your personal interests show themselves. Are you connecting with yourself on that level and the truths within that level so that you can figure out your creative expression? This is where you enjoy life. This is what shows you what you enjoy in life. And are you making time for those things that you enjoy in life? And like I said, it's very important, because Spirit's saying there's no planets here or anything, but it's your responsibility to tap into that and make sure that you are connecting with that pursuit of pleasure and what brings you joy in life. Because if you don't, then it's going to have more trouble connecting you to your true self, your true roots, your inner emotional security. Make the healing of the karmic lessons happen, and then bring it all the way back to your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. They are telling you right off the bat, tap into that solar plexus and sacral chakra and work on that energy and the self-expression. With that being said, I can see I'm going to be out of time in just a second, so I'm going to start up. Just come right on back for the 6th house through the 12th. I love you guys. Bye.